everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing factorizing trinomials. When we do our firsts, x times x is x squared. Outers, 3 times x is plus 3x. Inners, 2 times x is plus 2x. And then for our last, 2 times 3 is 6. Do I have like terms there? The middle ones, right? So we're going to end up with x squared plus 5x plus 6. Now guys, what I want you to notice at this point, because we are going to use it when we are factorizing, is that the product of my first terms gave me my first term, right? In my trinomial, in my answer. Do we agree that we're getting a trinomial as an answer? What is a trinomial again? 3 terms. Let's quickly add that to our heading. Trinomial is an expression that consists of 3 terms. Oh, sorry. Okay, so to get back to what I was saying, when we multiply our first terms together, we get the first term of the trinomial. When we multiply the last terms together, do we notice that we get the last term of the trinomial? Right? And what about this, guys? How does the middle term in the trinomial relate to the brackets that I started with? What do you guys think? Can you see some kind of pattern there? Yeah. So the outers, right, gave us 3x and the inners gave us 2x. Guys, what is 3 plus 2? 5. Now, does that make sense? Because when we say 3x plus 2x, that's going to give us 5x, right? So basically, the sum of these two terms will give us the middle term. Okay, I'm going to explain to you now how we're going to use that when we are factorizing. Okay, so now please write down the next bit. Now factorize the following trinomial. And hopefully you can see that the trinomial that I'm now giving you guys that we need to factorize is the answer from the previous question. Right? X squared plus 5x plus 6. Now guys, we know that the answer has to be what? Remember, factorizing is the opposite of multiplying, right? So in this first example here, we went from 2 brackets, we multiplied them out, we ended up with this trinomial. Now we're starting with the trinomial, now we need to go backwards. Okay, so what is the answer going to be here? What did I start with in my multiplication question? X plus 2 times x plus 3. That is the answer, guys, when we are factorizing that trinomial. All right, now I'm going to write little notes on the side, basically what you need to think, right? Steps that you need to take when you're given a trinomial and you need to factorize it. Because obviously we were just looking at the brackets that I gave you up there. Okay, what you're going to do, guys, you're going to look at your constant term, the term that doesn't have an x attached to it, right? So 6 in this case. So please make a little arrow from 6. You are going to look for factors of that constant term. Factors of 6. Now guys, 6 has multiple factors, multiple pairs of factors, right? Do we agree? We can do 6 times 1. Do we agree that 6 and 1 are factors of 6? Or we can do 2 times 3. Right? Those are possible factors of 6. Now, how are you going to know which factors to choose and to then put in your brackets? You are going to look at your middle term. You are going to say the sum of these factors. What does sum mean, guys? Add. Okay, the sum of the factors, when you add the factors together, must equal 5. And where does that 5 come from? I'm going to make a little extra note. 5 is the coefficient of the middle term. What does coefficient mean? The number in front of that x, right? Or in the number that you are essentially multiplying by that variable, x in this case. Okay, so guys, what pair of factors am I going to choose now? 6 times 1 or 2 times 3? Which pair of factors will give me a sum of 5? The second one, hey? What sum am I going to get from 6 times 1? 7. Okay, thank you. So you can't say, oh, but ma'am, 6 minus 1 is 5. Yes, that's true, but then that's not a sum. Right? Do you understand? If you're doing 6 minus 1, we call that the difference. Okay, when you're subtracting. So it has to be the sum of the two factors that have to give you 5. So now, guys, what we're going to do with this 2 and 3 is those are the two numbers going into my 2 brackets. Okay, what must go into my brackets first? Remember, the product of your first terms must give you your first term. So do we understand why it has to be x and x? Because x times x will give us x squared. Okay, so that goes into, or those two become the first terms in your brackets, and then the second terms in your brackets are going to be the numbers, the factors that we have chosen, 2 and 3. All right, it's positive 2 and it's positive 3, so we're going to put a plus 2 and a plus 3. Guys, with factorizing, if you're not sure if you've done it correctly, you can always check, because you can always multiply your brackets out and see if your product gets you back to this trinomial, right? So you can literally say, let me just erase this here. You can say, what is x times x? X squared. Okay, that works. What is 2 times 3? 6. Okay, that works. Now to get your middle term, you must do your outers and your inners, right? So what is x times 3? 3x. Do we agree? And what is 2 times x? 2x. What's 3x plus 2x? 5x. Okay, so you can always, with factorizing, sometimes like those ones with the difference of 2 squares with a whole bunch of brackets, it's not as straightforward to multiply out, but with these trinomials, you can always do a quick check like that, okay, if you're not sure if you've chosen the correct numbers. All right, let's do some more examples. There we go. Examples, factorize fully, that's the first one. X squared plus 5x plus 4. All right, now guys, this is still a part of factorizing, right? So we should still check first whether we have a common factor. Okay, remember in a test or exam, they're not going to give you a heading trinomials or common factor or difference of 2 squares. They're going to give you a whole bunch of factorizing questions all mixed together. All right, so you need to be able to identify what type of factorizing am I going to have to do for this question. Now, is there a common factor here between these 3 terms, guys? No. All right. Is this a difference of 2 squares? No. Right? The difference of 2 squares has to be only 2 terms. You need to have a square and a minus and another square. All right. So this is very clearly a trinomial. Now, guys, before you factorize your trinomial, please make sure that it's written in the correct order, your terms. You always have to have your x squared first, then your x term, and then your constant term. Okay. So we are writing the terms in descending order of x. Right? Does that make sense? So you always have to have the x squared first and then the x and then the 4. If they've given the terms in a different order, first put them in the correct order. Okay? They have to be written in this way first. So now we're going to look at our constant term, which is 4. We're going to be looking for factors of 4. What factors of 4 do we have? 4 and 1, but then we also have 2 times 2. If you can see immediately which factors you're going to use, you don't have to write down both pairs. Okay, I'm just writing like the full working out so that if you are confused, you can see exactly what we did. Now, guys, because of my middle term being 5, the sum of the factors that I choose must also be 5. Right? The coefficient of that middle term is 5, so the sum of those factors must equal 5. So which factors am I going to choose now? 4 and 1. If I choose 2 and 2, guys, what's 2 plus 2? 4, not 5. Okay, so that's why I can't choose these 2 factors. All right, so now my brackets are just going to be, what must be first in my brackets, guys? X, because I need an x times x to get to x squared. All right, so I'm going to have x plus 4 and x plus 1. Or if you want to, you can write x plus 1, x plus 4. The order of your brackets doesn't matter. Okay, you can swap those numbers around. It's fine. It means the same thing. X squared plus 4x plus 4. Again, if you can just do this in your head, you don't have to write down the blue stuff on the side. So again, we are looking for factors of 4, which is the constant term. So again, we could choose either 4 and 1, or we can choose 2 and 2. What must the sum of these factors now be equal to? 4. Right, the coefficient of my middle term. So which factors am I now going to choose? 2 and 2. Alright, so now in the brackets again, I need to start with x because x times x is going to give me x squared. And now I'm going to put a plus 2, and then in the other bracket, again an x plus 2. Right, how could you write that slightly differently? If you wanted to, you don't have to. Yeah.
X plus 2 squared.
Yes. Okay, so if you want, guys, if you prefer this, you can write it like that. But you don't have to. That can be your final answer. You will get full marks for that. Okay, let's look at another one that uses different numbers. So x squared plus 10x plus 21. Are my terms in the correct order? Yes. So I'm looking for factors of the constant term, which is 21. All right, what are factors of 21? 7 and 3, but we can also do 21 times 1, hey? That's a possible option. What is the coefficient of my middle term? 10. So now the sum of the factors that we choose needs to be 10. So am I going to choose 21 and 1 or 7 and 3? 7 and 3, because 7 plus 3 is equal to 10. Okay, so in my brackets, I'm going to have x plus 7 and then an x plus 3. Or if you want, x plus 3, x plus 7. Okay, you can swap your brackets around. All right, I want you guys to try number 4 on your own quickly. I'll give you a little while. There we go. All right, did we get that? X plus 4, x plus 4. So now we had 3 pairs of factors to choose from, but the same method still applies. You're looking for factors of the constant term, and the sum of those factors must equal 8. So you would go with 4 times 4. And guys, again, if you're just looking at it, you can just like do all of this in your head, right? In a testo exam, we're not going to give you marks for writing the stuff on the side. It's just now for in class while we're doing the first few ones that I want you to do it. All right, do number 5 and number 6 on your own for me, please. All right. I just wrote the working on the side slightly differently. I didn't list all of the factors now. This is kind of what you can do in your head as well. So you can just say to yourself, I'm looking for factors of 36. The sum must equal 12. So which factors are those? 6 and 6. Okay. Obviously, if you want to, you can keep listing all of the factors, but it's probably faster to just kind of do that in your head. So do we agree with that one? X plus 6, x plus 6. And then for the last one, x squared plus 11x plus 30. You now need factors of 30. The sum of those factors must be 11. So you have to choose 6 and 5.